The grocery store was packed that afternoon, a chaos of carts, chatter, and checkout beeps. Jake, a single dad juggling a job and his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, was grabbing milk when a sudden thud froze everyone. A young woman in an expensive coat had collapsed near the produce aisle, apples rolling everywhere. Without thinking, Jake dropped his basket and sprinted over, catching her head just before it hit the cold tile. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked, checking her pulse. His hands shook slightly, memories flashing of the night his late wife fainted in his arms years ago. He gently laid the girl down, calling for help. Lily ran up, eyes wide. "Daddy, is she okay?" "She will be, sweetheart." Moments later, paramedics rushed in. A frantic older woman in designer heels stormed through the crowd, her face pale, her voice trembling. "That's my daughter," she cried. Jake stepped back, letting them through. The woman turned to him, her eyes meeting his for a moment of silent gratitude before she followed the stretcher out. Jake sighed, picked up his spilled groceries, and thought that was the end of it. But 2 days later, when he opened his front door to leave for work, a black limousine idled at his curb. A driver stepped out, holding an envelope embossed with gold lettering. "Mr. Jake Carter," he said. "You're requested at the Whitmore estate." Jake froze. Whitmore? The Billionaire family? Jake stood before the towering iron gates of the Whitmore estate, still trying to process how his ordinary life had spun into something out of a movie. The butler led him through marble hallways lined with chandeliers until they reached a sunlit room overlooking acres of manicured gardens. There, seated by the window, was the same woman from the grocery store, only now, she looked radiant and composed. The older woman beside her turned, offering a poised smile. "I'm Victoria Whitmore," she said, extending her hand. "And this is my daughter, Emily. You saved her life." Jake fumbled for words. "I just did what anyone would have done." Victoria shook her head. "Not everyone would have cared enough to act. The doctors said your quick response prevented something serious." Emily smiled softly. "I remember your voice before I blacked out. You said, 'You'll be okay.' It helped." Jake felt a lump in his throat. "I'm glad you're fine." Victoria gestured toward a thick envelope on the table. "A small token of gratitude," she said. "Please, accept it." He hesitated before gently pushing it back. "Ma'am, thank you, but I can't take money for doing what's right." For the first time, Victoria seemed at a loss for words. Wealth had always bought her solutions, but not this man's humility. As Jake stood to leave, Emily spoke again, her tone hopeful. "Mr. Carter, could I see you again? I'd like to thank you properly." Jake smiled, unsure. "We'll see." But as he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that their paths weren't done crossing yet. And he was right, because the very next day, Emily showed up at the small diner where he worked. The morning rush at the small-town diner was in full swing when Jake heard the soft jingle of the doorbell. He glanced up from the coffee pot, and froze. Standing there, looking completely out of place among the checkered floors and buzzing chatter, was Emily Whitmore. Her elegant coat, pearl earrings, and gentle smile drew every pair of eyes. But her gaze was fixed only on Jake. "Mr. Carter," she said warmly. "Or can I call you Jake?" He blinked, half laughing. "Most folks here just call me Jake. And you really didn't have to come all this way." She slid into a booth, glancing at the menu. "Maybe I wanted to see where my rescuer works." Lily peeked from behind the counter, clutching her stuffed bunny. "Daddy, is that the lady who fainted?" Emily smiled at her. "Yes, and I owe your dad, and maybe you, a big thank you." Jake brought her a cup of coffee, the same way he served everyone else. No special treatment. That seemed to surprise her. "I'm used to people pretending around me," Emily admitted. "But you're just real." Jake shrugged. Life doesn't give me much time to pretend. They talked between customers, laughter slowly easing the invisible line between billionaire and single dad. When she left, she handed Lily a small bracelet. For luck, she said. Later that evening, Jake found a note under his register slip, written in delicate handwriting. You saved me once. Maybe now it's my turn to do something for you. Emily. Jake read it twice, unsure what she meant. But he couldn't deny the warmth spreading through his chest. He didn't know it yet, but Emily Whitmore was about to change his life forever. A week passed, and Jake's life felt oddly brighter, though he couldn't explain why. Then one afternoon, he returned home from the diner to find a sleek black car parked outside his small apartment building. Emily stepped out, dressed simply this time, jeans, a soft sweater, no diamonds, no makeup. Just her. I hope I'm not intruding, she said, smiling. I wanted to see you and Lily. Lily's face lit up. Emily. Come in. Inside, the place was tidy but worn. The furniture mismatched, the paint fading. Emily looked around gently, not with pity, but with quiet understanding. You work so hard, Jake, she said softly. You shouldn't have to struggle alone. He folded his arms. I don't need charity. I know, she said. That's why this isn't charity, it's friendship. The next day, Jake received a letter. Emily had arranged for Lily's school fees to be covered anonymously and offered to help expand the diner through her company's community program. Jake tried to return the help, but Emily only smiled. You caught me when I fell, she said. Now let me help you stand taller. As weeks turned into months, their bond grew deeper. Emily often visited, sometimes reading to Lily, sometimes just sharing quiet moments with Jake after closing hours. Then one evening, under the diner's dim lights, she said softly, You reminded me what really matters: kindness, family, honesty. I grew up surrounded by wealth but starving for something real. You gave me that. Jake looked at her, emotion thick in his voice. And you reminded me that good hearts still exist, no matter the last name or the bank account. Outside, the world kept moving. But for that moment, everything felt perfectly still, like two broken pieces finally finding where they belonged. Spring arrived with soft sunlight and blooming hope. The diner, once quiet and struggling, now buzzed with life. A new coffee machine gleamed behind the counter, a gift from a friend, Jake always said when customers asked. But everyone in town knew who that friend was. Emily became part of their little world. She'd help serve pancakes on weekends, laugh with Lily over spilled syrup, and stay late, wiping tables beside Jake. For the first time in her life, she felt free, no board meetings, no press, no expectations. Just real people, real smiles. One night, as the diner lights dimmed, Jake found her sitting by the window, lost in thought. Big day tomorrow, he asked. She nodded. My mother's charity gala. She wants me to bring someone important. Her eyes met his. Would you come? He froze, then smiled faintly. A single dad at a billionaire's ball? She laughed softly. You'd fit in more than you think. The next evening, Jake walked into the glittering ballroom, hand in hand with Lily, who wore a little blue dress Emily had given her. The crowd turned, but not in judgment. They watched as Emily, the billionaire's daughter, knelt down and hugged Lily, tears in her eyes. This, Emily said to the cameras flashing nearby, is the family that reminded me what true wealth looks like. Victoria Whitmore stood nearby, eyes glistening. Your heart found what mine never did, she whispered to her daughter. Jake squeezed Emily's hand. Guess I caught you for more than one reason. She smiled through tears. Yeah, you caught me when I didn't even know I was falling. And under the ballroom lights, surrounded by laughter, love, and second chances. They finally realized they'd saved each other.